Yeah, I just wanted to read the online version of Cinco de Mayo, right? So it reads like this. So let me put it somewhere like this. Okay. It reads like this. It says Cinco de Mayo, Mexican Spanish for 5th of May, is an annual celebration held on May 5th to celebrate Mexico's victory over the Second French Empire at the Battle of Pueblo in 1862, led by General Ignacio Zaragoza. Pardon me for messing up the name. Zaragoza died months after the battle from an illness, however, and a larger French force ultimately defeated the Mexican army at the Second Battle of Pueblo and then occupied Mexico City. Following the end of the American Civil War in 1865, uh, the United States began lending money and guns to the Mexican liberals, pushing France and Mexico conservatives to the edge of defeat. At the opening of the French chambers in January 1866, Napoleon III announced that he would withdraw French troops from Mexico and replied to a French request for American neutrality. The American Secretary of State William H. Seward replied that French withdrawal from Mexico should be unconditional. Now, I'm going to clear some things up. I want y'all to understand. Remember, they mentioned American Civil War in 1865. What also happened in 1865? The slaves was freed. So they used also slaves. There was a civil war in America. The South against the North and all that. That's what that about. If you don't know, but also in 1865, I think so-called Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. That was the same year. So now check this out. Now let's go before that. It says the first battle. What was about? The first one you got to pay attention to when they said about. I'm gonna read that again. The at Pueblo, it says the annual celebration held on May 5th celebrate Mexico victory over the Second French Empire at the Battle of Pueblo, right? In 1862. A lot of people don't know those was already former slaves that ran from America that fled prior to 1865, before 1865. There was some people fled former slaves, mind you, fled up into Mexico, in Central America, which is Mexico, right? They fled up in Central Mexico during slavery. Some of the slaves would escape and they would flee. They knew the route. They would flee to Central, they would go further south into Central America. Some went further north, which would be further up, all the way up in Canada. There's movie, not only movies, but there's books on that. But just going back to Cinco de Mayo, it was the former slaves that fought and defeated the French army in a battle of Pueblo, in case you were wondering. So it's really about the celebration of former slaves. That's why a lot of white people don't acknowledge, a lot of Caucasian people don't acknowledge it. They know the history about that, what it was really about. And it was about enslaving the former slaves and using them, man. That's all that was about. That's why you see all of them Caucasian race, because mind you, this is still during the Renaissance period when Esau, the so-called white man, came back in power. And the first ones to set it off was the Spanish during the Renaissance. And after them were the French. So 1 + 1 is 2. It ain't hard to figure out. It was about keeping our black asses down. Okay? Let's just cut to the chase, okay? That's what that was about. The black man was trying to stay free fighting Esau. So what they did, they had those pick sides. So America came in and aided with the guns. So it was about subduing your our people, man. So-called black men, Negroes, man. Former slaves. That's what that was about, man. Make no mistake about it. So yeah, we was already up in Central and South America. That's how we got there, because we was fleeing slavery. For all you smartasses out there trying to running with the images of Esau all on damn social media, you know who you are. But you gotta repent from that and acknowledge and do research and get the real truth out here and read some books. How about that? With that, I say shalom. I ain't want to go along with it, but hey, it's short. It's only like 5 minutes going into 6. But anyway, with that, I say shalom. Remember your history, know your history, read the Bible. That's our history book. It's about Hebrew Israelites. So with that, I say shalom. Yasha'Allah, shalom.